everyone, good evening and welcome to the session. And indeed, it is a pleasure to just come and say hi and happy new year on this January. Again, with the stars of our community. In fact, we do have a surprise. All of us know about being a leader is a different ball game altogether, but remembering the leader is something even more important in the today's society. A leader with a big picture, as well as a leader who worries as well as takes action for transforming the society. So, in that manner, I'm really privileged to bring Erik today. So, he is the CEO of Boundaryless, who just been in the industry just for 25 plus years. So, you can understand who is he all about. So, with that 25 years of experience, he has just done the automation is the latest part of it. But before that, he was part of the GE and made his transformation work on the process. Also has a very good business and finance acumen, and he is running an organization called Boundaryless, which is for transforming the society. More than that, what I like him is last year I just got the mail from him saying that Manjula, I just wanted to make sure our organization also wanted to create the impact with bringing women back to work. It's just not a talk or just the mail. He also showcased that he has just brought our community members, not only our community, similar to that, other women who are just coming from sabbatical break, and he has just showcased the tremendous improvement in the organization as well as just brought the change how he can just create an impact in the business as well as transforming the society. Thank you, Erik, for being with us. It's our pleasure and privilege. Would like to just welcome you and then know about your journey in few lines. Please just join us today.
Yeah, thank you, Manjula, and hello everybody who's listening in today. Yeah, well, a lot has been said. So, 25 years in business improvement, and since 4 years leading Boundaryless. Well, a super short introduction. So we are a commercial organization, but we also very much about improving lives, and we are being like people talk about us for some of the work we've done to help child welfare. We're doing something with a university in Ghana in Africa to help students with having a career opportunity in the new digital era. And one thing we realized is that we have actually 8 women, and we just hired number 9 yesterday, who are returners to work. And I'll talk a bit more later, but I am super excited because first of all, it makes us feel good because we're doing the right thing. But secondly, as a business owner, I also benefit because often these women have had a career, they had a good job, there was a family break, and now they're returning to work, and they're eager to demonstrate that they still have it. They're eager to perform. So as I said, it's a win-win. And let me pause there because otherwise I keep talking, and we have a few more introductions to go. But 2 of those examples of women returning to work are actually from HSI, and we just realized that connection. Hence, we wanted to also do something back to the HSI organization, and that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erik, for just sharing insight about that. As you rightly said, there is 2 more stalwarts are waiting for us to just talk about it. Welcome, Purnima and Namratha. It is my pleasure to just see you from where you are and where you are today. Please join us, and thanks for joining the session. Just come down.
Thank you, Manjula, for the lovely introduction, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. We were on the other side waiting to see, when we will go, restart our careers and be on, the panel that we are today. It's been a long journey, and HSI has been a great part of it. So 2020, I remember I came to your office and said, I want to restart. And from then on, like you rightly said, the confidence kept slowly building up even when the course started. And after the course completed, it was when, I got in touch with Erik. In fact, Erik got in touch with me. I would say that was like a big blessing. I was able to talk about what project we did with HSI, and they were very happy, the Boundaryless team, Erik and Leru, and they were all very happy. And they, I think I did a small chatbot project, also got an opportunity to do a small chatbot project for them. And that's when my confidence doubled. And of course, everybody goes through the interview fears and everything. That had its own toll on me as well. And as and when I attended more and more interviews, the fear of failure just became lesser and lesser, and I became more an admirer to what the awesome things that was happening in the automation field and the other areas as well. So yes, thank you so much, and I'm really delighted and excited to share my journey here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Erik and Manjula. Happy to be here.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And over to you, Namratha. Just go for it.
First of all, thank you so much, Manjula, for having us here today. Team Boundaryless here today. And I would like to say that some relationships are for life. And my relationship with HSI is one such. I was part of Batch 1, RPA returnship Batch 1, which helped around 25 women to upskill in UI path. And from a participant to where I am today as a senior business analyst, it's been an incredible journey of rediscovering myself, of breaking myths that you cannot upskill after a certain age, you cannot go back to work because it's a very competitive world. All those myths got busted during that 3 to 4 years. And the HSI training, which was a very intense training, which took us through it was more of hand-holding, through which we were, helped to upskill, which also gave me the confidence to go ahead and do the client projects later on. And for me, I think my career restarted from that point on as a UiPath instructor. Then I became a project coordinator. Then from there on, I decided to move into a business analyst role, where I've worked with a retail giant for nearly a year, which also included the role of a project manager, which came along with the business analyst responsibilities, and which enabled me to focus more and move into a senior business analyst role. And that is where I am today, from my journey that started in 2018. Today in 2023, I am in a very comfortable place, I would say, with all those fears gone, where I don't believe, breaks matter anymore. Because even when a lot of interviews, when I've taken the interviews, which I have cracked, they did not care whether we had a break. All they were concerned was how good you were, right? Technically, and whether you're confident and you can handle the, work, finish the deadline, finish on deadlines. And that's the criteria that everybody looks for. So I think it's been an incredible journey from that point on till here. And reaching Boundaryless was a bit of a turning point for me, because I reached here because Purnima, recommended me. And it is like the power of networking, as we call it, right? That brought me back. So HSI kind of helped me, grow as well in that manner. So thank you to both Boundaryless and HSI for the opportunities, for not, worrying about our breaks, helping us through our journeys and get back to work.
I used to be leading business improvement at a large Swiss bank called UBS, and I was also the business improvement director for a company called EssilorLuxottica, better known for the brands they have like Oakley and Ray-Ban. And one thing I found when I was working with consultant organizations there, that often there was a lot of variation in the quality of the consultants. So I wanted to build a business, first of all, around having experts. And don't let this discourage you, because there's a story there. There's also a story about developing people. And I hired, so UiPath is an RPA software provider, of course, and they publish every year a list of their most valuable professionals. And I jokingly say it's MVPs, like in basketball in the US, right? Who is the best team in the world? And so I started making an investment in experts. And of course, then when you're working with experts, life is different. Because on one hand, yes, we have people that know what they're doing, but it's also, how do you remain an expert? So my idea was, well, we need to give them a lot of space. We need to give them also the opportunity to be an expert in 3 years. So we out of that, we developed a lot of ideas in how we run the business. So compared to maybe the big names in consultancy, like where like people have to work 100 to 120% of the time, we're a bit different. We care. We're a commercial organization, but we care about doing a good job. But we also care about our people a lot, and we want to make sure that we spend enough time on training and on working together. So every week we have a technology team meetup where people are sharing ideas and best practices and new capabilities. And when you're working with people, like the human values tend to surface. So we were fortunate enough to be asked to help a child welfare organization in the US how to accelerate the application process for foster families. And a nice outcome of that is that last year 159 children ended up with a new loving family instead of ending up in an orphanage. And these type of impacts really encourage us to do more and to so we defined our purpose as improving lives, and that's for these children, but also for people in healthcare and in childcare, to take away with automation, to take away some of the administrative burden. And today we're here about bringing women back to work. And when we, as I said before, we have like literally 9 women, probably very similar to your situation, that had a career, had a family break, and are now on track or passionate about starting back. And I already told you, like my intentions, like it's the right thing to do, but it's good for business because it's a huge talent pool. And what we realize is we want to do more. So we are offering essentially for now an initial 6 returnship positions to fast track getting women back to work. And HSI is just the perfect organization to partner with.
From batch 1, right? This was 2018. When we started off with RPA, I walked in with the understanding that it is automation, some kind of scripting, and there is a bot involved. So, and that is where the curiosity also came in, because we have this tendency to sort of misunderstand it with robotics, the actual, physical robot, right? So, with time, you start realizing that, it's actually a script. It is not too difficult to code. It's a low code, no code application software using which you can build bots, and it essentially tries to mimic the actions that a human being performs on a desktop, right? From there, it can build on to, logging on to different applications, working with SAP, mainframes, legacy systems, databases, you name it. It can work with multiple technologies. So that's a knowledge that started coming only after I jumped into the profile, when I started upskilling. But this is again 2018, and back then there was not much information on how to work with UiPath. UiPath Academy was a very good place to upskill and understand what RPA is, but as such there was a lot of buzz around it, but again information was just building up at that point in time, right? So when we started learning this, that's when the opportunities also started presenting itself, especially when we see PDF automations. We know, all right, there is an OCR engine, and the future of RPA is also with AI. We are talking cognitive capabilities. There is AI that will come into the picture. And today when we look at ChatGPT and UiPath, a lot of the community members trying to work with RPA tools and ChatGPT, it's a long way we've come from there, right? So which also opens up so many opportunities for so many different kinds of professionals also to come into the mix now. So for me personally, I started off as a developer, then I have gone into kind of business analysis, where I went into an RPA business analyst role, which takes you into so many different applications and analyzing how the bot works with different applications. From a developer perspective, it is understanding how you integrate, the bot with the to work with a different application like SAP or even legacy systems like mainframes. It's very interesting to see how all these things work, and it opens up so many opportunities for an RPA business analyst, for an RPA developer, a senior consultant in development. You can go in as solution architects. Then there is the AI aspect of it, which is a really good combination today. If you know an RPA tool and Python, or how you can build an ML skill set, that's a really niche skill set that is coming up. And IDP is another one that works well with bots, intelligent document processing. And as far as testers are concerned, test automation is another field that's growing big time. So there are a multitude of opportunities now. When we talk RPA, it is not just bots. Associated with bots, a lot of technologies and roles come together. But for more details, we can also ask Erik, because Erik also has a lot of insights on a lot of aspects around this, in terms of what is expected of the candidates, what are the how do we match the skill sets for these kind of roles. So I think we should allow Erik also to give his thoughts on the same, and Purnima's thoughts from a developer's perspective as well, to get more insights into what are the different opportunities and what RPA really looks like.
As you say, like software development and automation are nothing new, and what is new is that it's become a lot more powerful, right? So it's much easier to create an automation with some of these software tools like UiPath or like, with all respect, with these other tools too, like Microsoft Power Automate is another tool. And if you have a basic understanding of a basic logic often, but it helps, of course, to have been on the software development side or on the software testing side, to have that sort of that structured thinking, and then with these tools, it's actually quite easy to put together a working automation, and you often it's going into the direction, and people were referring to ChatGPT, right? It's going in the direction that it becomes easier and easier to get to basically tell the machine, so to speak, what you want to achieve, and the tools are getting better and better and more powerful, but still it's good to have experts that can build automations and of course also figure out, well, how do we solve the issues if it's not working, and ultimately it's the combination of automation with a bit of business understanding, and this is what makes you so powerful, because you have worked in a business, you understand what's happening in a business. You're not a graduate that just learns automation and just wants to build software. It's the combination of solving a business problem with automating the process and making the process better. And with all respect, sometimes the way to make a process better is also first to make it simpler or better before you automate it. And I think having more mature people in the team actually brings also that sort of that awareness, that common sense that comes with a little bit of experience. And I think Purnima and Namratha are excellent examples of that.
Initially, I started my career with development. Actually, I did have a development background, but yes, I lost touch with the technology as the years went by. I moved into mode of leadership roles and project management and bits and pieces here and there, that kind of a role. Eventually, I felt I lost a grip somewhere, with the technology not being there, because things evolved, and somewhere, I was losing track with, maybe because I started off with development, I had a lot of grip then, even when I was coding, I got an understanding at the next level, what is, at an analyst level or at a management level. I was able to get a bird's eye view, which I was not getting, because here, when I was purely in a project management role, somewhere I felt I was not having a grip on the core of what's happening. It was in that search that I came to HSI. At that point, I did not know much about automation or UiPath. what enticed me was the package that you were giving, the hand holding, like Namratha said, the hand holding, that's what I wanted, because I was really afraid, to be honest, just afraid to come back to workplace. Though we've had that experience, though we've had, all that behind us, but still, the career break that we've had, somewhere it's more of an internal thing, like, you rightly put it, Manjula. It's more of the demons inside us that will, make us not aware. So, but when I entered into it, I see, for the nature of my role, like, I didn't want to let go of dealing with the business totally. Neither did I want to let go of technology. So I was somewhere in between. So I didn't want to get into something like C# or those kind of like a hardcore thing, nor did I want to get into like a PMP kind of a thing at this point. I wanted somewhere where I get a grip. So when I entered into UI path, at that time, there is some automation happening. Okay, I didn't know much. I was more interested in, I'm going to get a job, And then when I started and moved on with my career, the first thing that I just loved was the value that this tool was giving to the human actually, by reducing all the mundane tasks. That is one good thing. So the human capacity can be used for more creative purposes, more worthy things, rather than doing the day-to-day processes, entering data and picking it from here and putting it there and those kind of things. So it was really chopping off many things, and I totally started getting excited in that. How can I contribute? The next excitement that came into me was this was not a technology thing. So even though I'm from a technical background, I did have a long break. And when I came back, I realized that it's not only a person from a technology background, somebody who's in a non-technology background can also pick it up. How I knew it was from our own HSI group, where, we had all sorts of people coming in, and we were all in a team, right? We were put in a team and given projects, etc. And the way those people were contributing, the so-called non-technical people were contributing, was equally or even as good as a technical contribution. So somewhere it brought many pieces of people, many walks of life together, and that was really exciting for me. And being here, like Namratha said, various RPA lifecycle, you can pick and choose. But being a developer perspective, I would say, start with development. You need to get your hands wet. You need to, just go out there, know the real problems. Only when you get your hands wet, you will know, you can easily move, just do a year or two of development, then move on from there. You want to be a business analyst, you can even be a project management. Basically, go on, own the automation space. It's all yours, So I really believe that, if you are interested, just go in for a development, start with, and then you get the confidence automatically.
Like one of the things, of course, there needs to be a certain knowledge level, and HSI helps with that, right? So that's obvious. The second thing, what I find, like, it's almost two values more than anything else. So first, certification. Second one, it's about having passion, having drive. And so we mentioned, well, you've seen Purnima, you've seen Namratha, Preeti, you mentioned as well. And they have grabbed the attention in different ways. So Purnima reached out, took the initiative to reach me, and I like to be approachable. So that's an invitation for everybody. I said, can I do something? And then we had this idea about creating a chatbot for not to make it too technical, but can I use WhatsApp to actually do a password reset with the IT help desk? And it was a good challenge, and she built it, and we had, of course, in the process we had a few calls, and she managed to figure out how to do that. And I was like, wow, it's somebody who's really committed to see something through and figure it out if she doesn't know it. Right? And Namratha and Preeti, well, I don't want to combine them necessarily, but both of them have taken the initiative to help other members in the HSI program by being a trainer and doing quite a few things around that. And I think both of them are also very talented women, obviously. But I think it is that, and I label it passion, but you can call it drive. But at least I am looking for people that want to grow, want to do something. And I think you made the first step, or you are making the first step to join the HSI program. But it's like I'm always looking for, because I don't expect you to be an expert when you start, but I do expect people to want to grow, and that's the let's say the character, one of the character or values we'll be looking for. The other one, it sounds maybe silly, but we're looking for humble people. We have a lot of experts, and we have arguably some of the best talent in the world in certain areas. But we're all very humble people. We don't want, I think the word is divas, right? We don't want people to say, well, I know everything, I'm going to do it, I'll tell the client how it's working. We like people that actually are passionate, that want to be great at what they do, but that also still have the ability to listen, to work together in a group. And the combination of being an expert, and again, we can help get there. But being an expert with not having too strong of a, let's say, presence in meetings, it's great, because you somehow, but by not being so bold and not being so loud, you don't set real high expectations, and then the ability to actually deliver and do world-class stuff with the team we have. It wows the clients all time and time again, right? Most of the calls I get from clients is to say thank you, because they didn't expect that the team was going to do what they did. And yeah, so join the HSI program, find something you're passionate about to impress, and stay humble, please. Yeah.
Yes, Manjula, since HSI already gives a very good foundation as to the basics and nourishes them with a lot of, assignments, etc. So for the interview purpose, and especially if you want to join a company like Boundaryless, where there are experts, right from day one, we want to maintain a kind of a standard and one kind of quality. And trust me, that stands out in the eyes of the client as well. They are just really happy to see, neat work, good work, and, conceptually, if you understand things. So what I would say is RE framework is something that is really a must, and just not knowing just the structure, but how the whole thing is, the beauty of RE framework, that how the whole thing flows and how the exceptions are handled, and just have the concept very, very clear in your head. So that is a real must, because that is where I think earlier it was more like an option, you can use RE framework, you don't have to. But as far as Boundaryless is concerned, I think many other companies also now insist on RE framework. So get your RE frameworks in place. That is very important. And secondly is, try and do your certifications, because, certifications always, push you to the next level. They always present you in a better light. You may be a good developer, but when you are a good developer backed with a certification, that always, in the eyes of the clients, that stands a lot of value. Certification can happen in the course of you doing the work also. So it doesn't, it's not necessarily a prerequisite, but it's a good to have as early as you can. These are the two main things that I would like to say. And have your logic, work on your logical skill. It's not important to solve a problem. It's okay if you're not able to find the end solution of it. The way you approach it, the various approaches, you don't give up, you try this, you try that, you try various things. So that eagerness to try and, ask for help. If you don't know, don't hold back, don't ask for too much help, without even trying. That's also not good. And after a point, just ask for help. It's okay. You just say, you've tried too much, and you say, guys, I don't know this. Yeah, please help me out. That's also fine. So the way all these things has helped me in my personal life. And also, just be very honest to your own self, whether can you handle this or not. Like, you may be very ambitious. I may suddenly want to get into process mining, or I may suddenly want to, do all these crazy things, because it's such an exciting world here. But just take one step at a time, and just be, am I, good enough to, not good enough, but am I skilled enough to handle it? That is where you must always ask your own question. If you are not, work towards it. You might have it not today, but tomorrow you will definitely reach to where you are. These are the things that I would like to.
Awesome. Namratha, over to you to just tell us about what is that. Other than what Purnima said, do you have any pointers for team to just have a prerequisite or preparation to come back for the interview with Boundaryless? Go for it.
All right. So for me, the points I would be making is from a slightly different aspect. So when you are, when a requirement is given to you, how do I analyze it, right? So that is equally important for an RPA developer. So what am I looking at? Where could the bot go wrong? And the documentation related to it is equally important. So you need to have an overview of how the PDDs are built, how the SDD is derived out of it. And if possible, if you know how an HLD, right, the high-level documentation is built by the solution architect, just an idea. It comes with experience on how to build that thing, but having some information on how the various RPA cycles work, what is expected in each RPA cycle. So that kind of brings the picture together when you're building a bot for a developer. So it's important to know that as well. Even though you will not be extensively working on documentation per se, you would be more on the coding aspect. Knowing the overall picture also helps in streamlining the way you would be working. So if a requirement is given to you, at least you should be able to understand what it is, and from a technology perspective, how this thing can be implemented, or where could it go wrong? Can it be done? Or do you need more help from somebody else to understand it better? So those kind of things are insights into how to handle the requirement. So my recommendation would be, if possible, finish the recommended RPA developer programs, the foundation course and the advanced courses in the UiPath Academy, which I think our HSI candidates would definitely finish by the end of their returnship program. And if you have time, go through the business analyst program as well, because it kind of gives you insights into how to look for those, how to take down, the requirements and how to analyze it. It helps. It's a capacity, it's a capability, or those insights come with time and experience. But knowing will also help. That I need to do it this particular way as well is something that would help. So it's just an additional thing. It's not a mandatory requirement for a developer, but it's always something that helps to understand, the bot better, how to build the bot better.
Awesome. Yes. A lot of two questions have just come. I think can just go to Erik to just answer about that. Erik, there is a comment section where I will read the question. I want you to just support us. There's a question from Shweta as what is your take on the recent mass layoffs in IT and the future of RPA? Can you just share some light on that? It seems to be an interesting question, and happy to hear from you.
Yeah, it's a very open question. Of course, there's been a lot of layoffs with Google, Amazon, Salesforce, Spotify, Meta. They all announced layoffs, and typically 10,000 or more people, right? Massive. What is my take? There's two sides to it. So on one hand, these companies grew very fast and have hired a lot of people. Valuations were very high, especially a year and a half ago when we were all sitting at home and everybody was ordering online and using online services. I think there's a combination of the offline world has come back a little bit, and also we're in a situation of moderate to and slowing growth, and there's a little bit of a rebalancing between, let's say, the revenue forecasts and the cost structure. So organizations are shifting, and there's a story for everybody. So Meta has been investing a lot in the metaverse, of course, which is not going as fast as they wanted. Google just announced something like a massive reduction this week. Google is a little bit nervous about this whole ChatGPT and how it will help maybe Microsoft become the biggest search engine, and they need to free, like the word in the market is it's a reduction in workforce, but because they need to reallocate resources to support their core business and their AI capabilities that are going to support internet search in the future. But it is a given that companies are trying to reduce cost, and I think RPA is a great way to actually form activities like we were just talking about earlier, mundane activities like typing data between from one system into another system. Why would you do that manually? Why can't you do have an automation do that? And so there are a lot of activities where RPA can augment people, so people can do more. When RPA started in around 2016, everybody was expecting it to take jobs away. The reality is, it has not. It has made jobs richer, because you end up doing more of the human activities rather than the repetitive robotic activities. But now, we're going into a new phase where automation is capable of at least taking over more tasks. And yeah, I do see a large growth for RPA, and probably a little bit of a stagnating workforce. And customer expectations are still high. Work will still be busy, but automation can actually help probably to create more capacity for the people who are working in organizations to get things done and to make things better.
Awesome. So that's lovely to just know about it, but followed up with the other question also I'm going to ask you, Erik, just to get that, and then I'll move on to our members over here. And how is the remote working is possible? I know Namratha is, again, we can use her as an example and sitting in Denmark and just working over there. But then wanted to hear from you, how is the remote work is possible when we learn about RPA? That's another question. Please go ahead, Erik.
Well, our company name is Boundaryless, and they call it. Funnily enough, this is called Boundaryless work to work from anywhere, which is not what we invented. Just to be clear, we do have a lot of we see a lot of opportunities for remote work. Our strategy has always been, we work with clients in Europe with a workforce that's partially on site and partially remote, and we have made big investments in India to grow a team there. We're not super big yet, but we're growing, and we're growing fast in India. I expect by the end of this year there will probably have about 30 people working in India. And clients are more and more open. So we work for a large oil company in the Middle East, and in the past people needed to be in the country. Nowadays it's perfectly accepted that we support them from Namratha in Denmark or our team in India. And so organizations are becoming more open, but there's also a different tendency. What I start to see is that, especially in the financial sector, that remote work is still very much supported, but within the country. There's of course a certain, territorial behavior around protecting jobs in the UK or in the US. So in what we see in the UK, you can work remote, but as long as you're in the UK. In the US, you can work remote, but as long as you are in one of the neighboring states. So there's different developments, but I think generally speaking, we have a lot of opportunities to support international clients from India. There's obviously nowadays the infrastructure is great. So we're doing a video call. I'm sitting in Spain, Namratha in Denmark, and all of you, most of you in India. So the technology has advanced a lot, and also the mindset has evolved a lot. So I see perfect opportunities, even though we have an office in India now, but also like most of our people also have the ability just to work from home, right? Because we have people in Hyderabad, in Pune as well, and the office is in Delhi.
Awesome. That gives a clarity for everybody who has got a curiosity whether it is possible, and they've just done that. And this other question has just popped up, so probably I'm just going to pull Purnima to just help us out. Purnima, just help us out. What is the approximate timeline to learn RPA? You would be the best person. Go ahead.
The timeline really depends on us if you are doing it on your own. But with somebody like an HSI support, if you really need a handhold and you want to really get your basics strong, I would say just go in with this course, because I have taken this. This is not, I'm not trying to just promote it, but I have experienced it and it has helped me. That is why I'm sharing it, because the way, there is a lovely mentorship program. So you can ask all your doubts. In that end of that course, end of the week, when you complete a topic, you're given assignments on that. Be honest on those assignments, do it. Then the next week follows, and then finally you come up with a large assessment where you are covered with all your. So by this stage, you are strong with your basics. All you need is to work on your project. Then it comes your pilot project, where you are given a real life scenario, but you're not actually in a live client project. So after that, you go to a live project. So there is a lovely, it's not just about learning the session or the course, but it's about really placing you out there. So from one end to another end, literally the jump is there. So yeah, so again, coming back to approximate timeline is something that if you have the time to do, this kind of intensive work, go with HSI. You're short of time, you want to just, wrap it up with, you're already know other RPA tools and you want UiPath is one of it. Just quickly, there's an academy material free one available. Just quickly go up there, certify yourself, and, go ahead. So it all depends on you guys. Yeah.
And how long is the HSI program? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I was really happy with. Even though it's a long period, Purnima never forgot the structure. It just comes in a coherent manner. This is how you're just going to do that. Very happy about that, to just hear that. So it's just, the program is just the 6 weeks for them to get the basics, which we call it as a L1 program. Followed by that, like our people are experienced about that, they will start the L2 program, followed by the projects. That's how. So in a nutshell, by 12 weeks, they would be reasonably a great RPA player, where they can just do the wonder. But more and more they add projects, that's where they get their hands-on experience, just to give that. Thanks, Purnima. It's really good to see that the flow never have just gone. I could have appreciated from Namratha, being she is an instructor, being a participant, we were comfortably just pushing it across. That was lovely. Thank you so much. Good. So Namratha, I think that we'll take it as a last question to just pick it up from the group over here. What is the stress level? So can you just brief that about us? Is it yes, or if yes, what is that?
See, it's like any IT job, right? We are IT guys. So with RPA, it depends on what is the complexity level of the bot and how good you are as well. Your technical skill matters. If you are really good, I think you can crack any project that comes your way. So that is something that you build with age, with time, and a lot of projects that you do, right? As far as the stress level is concerned, some projects, depending on how complex it is and how high the visibility is, and believe me, RPA projects get a lot of visibility. It gets a lot of press from people higher up the ladder. So if you land up in those kind of projects, that's when it can be slightly stressful, but it can be handled, because at that point in time, a lot of people are also there to support you. You're not left alone. Believe me, when those high visibility projects are there, help comes from everywhere. So it's like any IT field. Do not get disheartened by the fact that there will be no stress, but some projects, yes, can be a roller coaster ride. But generally speaking, it is not that bad. It is a lot of people do enjoy working in RPA projects. Every project is different. Every project comes with its different challenges. Some projects can be as small as a month or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and there are bot projects which can go up to 6 months and more than that, right? So it's personally, to me, it's always been a new challenge to crack the next day, and it's always kept me going. And it also, to a certain extent, takes the stress, the focus off the stress, because you are still concentrating on what needs to be delivered, right? So I would say it's a mental thing. You need to come mentally prepared, and understand that sometimes it can get difficult, but most of the times it's not, from my personal experience. Yeah.
Lovely.
And maybe to add to that, so like, of course it depends also on clients and everything, but most like one of the advantages from remote work is that it creates a little bit of flexibility, right? And also most of the clients have children and they have an understanding if something is happening. Of course, that's not a general rule. Some clients want you to join meetings and be like, we're never on the clock. But most clients basically have this attitude. Well, as long as, like, we set a deadline in a few weeks, and as long as we deliver towards that deadline, we're fine. And there's an element of flexibility, as long as you can also attend like the odd meeting that maybe is needed to work with the team and to discuss progress. So, but again, that's not as a general rule. But I find, well, I cannot speak for Purnima and Namratha, but I think it's less stressful than being in the office all day, running around meetings, like to actually be able to work remotely and have some control over your time.
Tell me your happiness quotient and your family happiness quotient before you took a break and now, because that's going to be the game changer when you are going to share that with the community, to think about it. Is it worth for us to take this kind of a plunge and then come back? Wanted to hear from both of you. Purnima, go for it.
So yes, there is a lot of difference when you're on a break and when you start working, especially when the kids start growing up, right? So when the kids are infants, you need more of their time. As when they grow, they really get encouraged by seeing even the mother do some other things, have her own life, and move forward. And more so, it's not about the kids, it's not about the husband, it's about our own free will, what we feel when we have the financial independence, when we are doing what we like. Then there is a natural respect that comes in our own eyes for ourselves first, so that, I think, that is very, very important. Some people are very happy being at home, and a lot of respect to them as well. So it really depends, whether you come back or not come back. It's an individual choice. But in my case, I was very, very excited. Now, the way I am able to gift my children and my family, and I'm able to travel on my own, it gives some kind of a lovely feeling. And like Erik said, I want to add on, Boundaryless is a kind of a place which encourages you to have a balance. They don't want you to overwork. That's the core of it. That's why I said, Manjula, in the beginning, that it's a very compassionate company. Their intention is not to make you overwork. The minute, this is out of my 1-year experience in Boundaryless, the minute you're overloaded or you feel, because in your enthusiasm, you might take in 2-3 things, and then suddenly, if you don't have a backup, it could. So when you voice it out, immediately the help comes. Like Namratha said, immediately the help comes. So there is no way, in Boundaryless, I have felt unnecessary pressure in my 1 year of experience or anything. So I think having a pressure or not having a pressure is also a kind of an individual choice vis-a-vis the companies. You have to align and keep talking to them. And I think many of them are approachable. You can work it out. You do have unfortunate scenarios, but yeah. So what I would like to say is, yes, you want to come back to work. It makes a lot of difference when you come back. We come back with more zeal, more maturity, and we have handled kids, which is like probably more challenging than corporate clients, I guess. So we come with a great package. So yeah.
That's good. Good to hear about it. Thank you, Purnima. Just push it across. Namratha, I would like to hear from you. What was before and after happiness quotient for you and family? Just let us know.
See, when I started off my career as a fresher back in 2006, I started off as a telecom engineer, as a product verification engineer, where I didn't know when my weekday ended and my weekend started, or when my weekend ended and my weekday started. I was working crazy hours, right? So, but then once I had a kid, that option was not in the picture anymore. So that's how the break happened. And I thought I'll get back after 2 years, 3 years. It went up to 10 years. Before I know it hit 10 years. And then I decided that RPA was probably the right fit for me to come back. And I picked up RPA. And when I jumped into it, I was not even aware of what roles are available, right? So I gradually grew into it. So when I started off, I said, okay, I need to start from scratch. It's a developer's role. When I started doing it at some point in time, I realized I would be, I have a business analyst kind of a mindset. Let me move into it. And I consciously work towards it. So at that point in time, in 2019, 2020, my goal was to, there was process mining that was a big field that I was really interested in, and it was catching my attention more and more from a business analyst's point of view. So my aim was to go into an RPA business analyst role and grow from there. I didn't want to grow as a developer. So the goal I set was to, turn into a business analyst or a senior business analyst in the next 3 or 4 years. And today, when I look back at it, that is where I'm sitting. So I'm very happy. I'm extremely happy that I am where I wanted to be. In the middle of that, I also got an opportunity to work as a project manager, which gave me insights into how RPA as a technology also works, right, at a center of excellence level. And that knowledge is a big advantage in my job. So today, when I look at it in terms of my capabilities, knowledge, how confident I am today, right? Back then, I didn't even know if I could crack an interview, whether I was good enough, to where today I'm confidently sitting in front of multiple clients a day, talking to all kinds of stakeholders. It's a transition like no other that's happened in my case, and I'm really happy today. In terms of what I'm taking home as my salary, in terms of where I've come, where I've reached, I'm on my path to what I really want to do with my career. So it's a direction set, and I'm going in that direction. So it's and as far as the home front is concerned, earlier on there was a lot of confusion around how things will work, right? My husband's in an extremely busy profession, and how would we work this around? But now we've reached a point where my son understands that my mother is also working, and I need to leave her alone for a couple of hours in the day. And with my husband, we have worked out a scenario where both of us are equally sharing everything now, and work is on the home front also. Things are fine, right? There's no conflict or who's doing what, or somebody is unhappy, I am unhappy. That's not the scenario anymore. So I'm in a very happy space at the moment. I'm definitely growing in a direction that I want to go in. And so for the rest of you all who are thinking along the lines, can we manage it? It will happen. You just need to take the plunge. Remove that mental block. It won't happen. Take the plunge. Get in.
As a leader, how do you feel when you just do this transformation in the society? It's more than the dollar value, the kind of impact what you are just giving. What is that it feels for you or the community? I would like to know that, because that's going to be the message to the rest of the corporate leaders. We can also think in this direction. Money is a byproduct of that, not just the first part of it. Would like to hear it from you, Erik.
And that's true, right? I always say that I am probably not the most commercial person to lead a business. It sounds, well, just to build on what you said, like very often we make people happier, right? So we talk about improving lives, but even like an example, like we're doing quite a few projects at the moment in healthcare, in childcare, in elderly care. And often the people providing care have a lot of administrative tasks that are in old systems, clunky systems, and helping them with automation makes them happy in two ways. Because first of all, they didn't choose that profession because they wanted an administrative career, and secondly, they have much more time to help the people that need their attention, whether it's the elderly, the children, or the patients. So it makes me feel good, first of all, that we are often making people very happy. And it can also be a finance person that was spending two days every month creating a report, and now it's done in 15 minutes, so they have time for other things. There's a societal impact, of course, as well. We're going through a period where remote work is much more accepted. As I said, like bringing women back to work who have the experience and often the drive to demonstrate to the world that they still have it, and they come with that passion is amazing, because it's like we strive to be about 50-50 in terms of like gender balance, and I think we're close. So we're probably 45% women at the moment, and but we're also having an impact, as you can hear, on families, on perception of like being a mom does not mean you cannot pick up your career again. And for me, the most beautiful projects, of course, are like I just told you the story when we started. We've been helping children find a new family, and that's an automation project I can even explain to my own children who are 8 and 12, and it's not always easy to explain to a child what automation is or what you do maybe in a bank, but when you bring children to a new family, it's also a wonderful story so they know what their parents are doing, and similarly, I will be talking about helping mothers back to work to them as well.
Right.
I only want to say one thing. During my time in HSI, what I've seen is women coming from all walks of life, right? All walks of life, with breaks ranging from 6 months to even 13 years, and they've all gone back to work. So do not let that break mentally block you out from thinking I cannot come back to work. Right? So that is the one thing I wanted to say. Do not let that get in your way. Upskill and come back to work. The the scenario is not as rigid as it was earlier on. Things are changing. Somehow the pandemic has been working in our favor with a lot of remote opportunities opening up, and RPA is one space where you will find quite a few openings which are in the remote space, so remote working space. So keep your minds open and come back to work. If you really want to come back to work, if that is what you are passionate about, do not stop those breaks from becoming a mental block. Come back, take the plunge. Everything else will follow.
Lovely.
So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's good to hear about it. Purnima, Erik, anything you would like to share?
Ladies first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. Yes, I would like to share. I would really echo what Namratha said. Guys, the fear of failure and fear of rejection is what, many of us go through. Like, what if we are rejected in interviews? What if there is no acceptance? Are we good enough? All these questions are just demons and they don't exist. And like Manjula, I think Namratha said, nobody really bothers. I have attended 20 to 30 interviews, guys, and I have failed in most of them. I mean, it's okay. And fear of failure just went. And, the more I feared, the more I attended the interviews, I just got over the fear. So there are different ways you can tackle with fear. It really doesn't exist. It's not real. The reality is more compassionate, more acceptance. Like, even after the pandemic, people have become closer. They realize each other's values. Things have changed. It is the right time, if at all you want to now. And RP is in a boom. It's a booming sector, especially in India, where automation is like just catching up. So just grab this opportunity, go for it, guys. I mean, just go for it. Everything is just a click of a button in your home. You don't even have to travel. You don't have to think too much. At the most, what are they going to tell you? Okay, no, you're not suited for this role. Cool, bye bye. So move to the next one. That's it. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Erik, before we just say bye and hi to you, do you have any few words to just wind up the session?
Well, it's hard to beat these two power women, right? I think we are a proud sponsor of HSI, right? And with us, many other companies. You will possibly come on your way with people who are maybe less understanding, but there's a lot of people out there that really want to help you and that they want to bring you back to work, and we're one of those. So go forward with HSI, and I hope to see many of you on your path.